And we're live.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 150 of Fans of Power. I am Joe Amato, and I'm here with my partner in crime, Tyler T-Rex Baker. What's going on, T-Rex?
Ready to kick some ass, man. This is 150 episodes of just bullshitting about He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, dude. And
nuts. Like I said,
no,
you're right. It's crazy. 150 episodes in, and one of these discussions, it's almost like a little throwback, but maybe we could still. We always like twisting and trying to see another little side of it or things we missed. It's always fun to revisit something sometimes. That's like
well, see, I started thinking about I think we did, because with this, one of our discussions has come up so many times, I started overthinking, did we talk about this already? Like a specific.
Revisit, we could always do that once in a while because, like I said, I see things maybe I didn't notice before or a different part of the story, which it's always cool. And it's, of course, the thing with Prince Adam, that's a topic where that seems like it never gets old. You always see debates on that in a lot of the Facebook groups. But before we start with all that, first let me say hello to everybody that's been in the chat room because we've had some people sitting there a little bit earlier and they've been talking before we even started. So hello to Zentron, Delvis78, Fedmon. I'm scrolling down. Hold on one second. I already said Zentron. See, there goes the mind already. And I thought there was a couple other. Oh, JD Gibson, thank you for joining us. And Motu fan number 1. Oh, and Zen Brown. Zen Brown's there too. So, all right, thank you guys for all joining us.
Fantastic turnout. Thanks, everybody.
Chris Pratt for He-Man. Shout out to Delvis. Have a good show, guys.
Son of a bitch.
Right. What a way to ruin that. Well, I haven't heard any movie news, so I guess we could say that. But as for recent news with Super 7, just to let you know, I believe tomorrow, because you brought it up last week, Tyler, and you weren't quite sure, I think, on the date, but tomorrow is the last day to do the pre-orders for those 5.5-inch figures for Hero, Eldor, and then the 4 Filmation figures, which I believe was Teela, Beastman, the Robot He-Man, and bam, that's where I just went blank. What was it? Beastman or Man-at-Arms? Jesus. God, how did I forget it? Man-at-Arms, which he looks great. They all look really good. The one that, to me, looks a little strange, but it just might be an angle. Beastman, something about his head looks gigantic. Did you get this vibe, or maybe you didn't really even look at it?
You and everybody else look at the figures a hell of a lot differently than I do. I don't look at the. I don't know. Sometimes I don't know how you guys find that stuff, especially when you're just looking at pictures. Unless people are putting up really high resolution scans stuff. I'm like, how the hell do you guys see some of this stuff?
Well, sometimes some things stand out. Like Man-at-Arms to me looks like perfection. Teela looks great. That Robot He-Man, which I'd never expect, looks great. But it was just, I actually noticed it, believe it or not, last week. I didn't say anything about it, but I never looked at him before. But when he was in the package, it just looked, I don't know, it might have just been an angle, how his beard looked. It just made his head look giant. But apparently you didn't, like I said, you didn't really see that. So it's not everybody that looks at things.
But I feel like when people point out problems, even like back with the whole reverse shoulders thing with King Hissenbach, I didn't notice any of that stuff. Like, what are you talking about? And then I looked.
Oh, those are really particular. I never noticed the reverse shoulders.
But that was just stuff. I'm like, I don't look and just examine.
Oh, neither do I, to be honest. I don't. It's just bam with something, boom. So I was trying to get your take because I've seen other people say it, and then when I seen it, I was like, what if Tyler notices? But like you said, not everybody sees these types of things. So that's
the vast majority of these things people that point out, I don't notice them because I'm just looking at the whole picture. I'm not, like those ladies at the local grocery store who, after they've checked out with their massive buggy of stuff, they look and see if you've shortchanged them a nickel somewhere in here. I'm pretty sure they shortchanged me a nickel on some Del Monte zucchini or something here.
They'll get their ass up there too. If there is a nickel shorted, I've seen them. They go up there like.
Yes, yeah. But not to say that the fans that point that stuff out are like old biddies looking for a nickel at your local Kroger. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I never stop to examine it because as long as you're giving me a character that I like, I'm content with it. Like when we got Hero. It wasn't the vac metal, but I was glad to know he's coming, and that's it. Like I clearly noticed the vac metal was not there, but I'm like, what?
Which thank God it's happening though. They're at least doing it now. Again, in case people didn't catch it last week. Yes, you're going to get vac metal, but also figures have the wave 2 of some of the figures for the 6.5-inch scale. Those started shipping, correct?
Yes, I got them on the shelf here, and I've got I've yet to put Granite on the shelf here just because I had to do some tinkering around. I'm still not done of getting a. I got Karg and Dialemog and Rat Trap on the shelf, but there's a few people I've got to maneuver and get them back on their proper places as well. And the Sorceress is on the classic shelf. The Formation figures are on the shelf, except Tongue Lash I put in with the Horde.
And what are your thoughts on all of them? How do they all look to you? Pretty good?
Oh, my God. They look so damn good. Like, it was just perfection, every one of them. I mean, I don't have – I should have had them out to show and everything, but hell, I'll grab Dialemog real quick because he's my favorite.
Yeah, go ahead. While you're grabbing, I'll just say it seems like I have not heard any issues for everybody here that's listening. It's in the chat room. I haven't heard any issues on quality control on those figures of any types of breakages. And I don't know if you fans have, because you can always jump in and let me know in the chat room. And hello, Adam Gabbard. But no, I haven't heard anything at all about me. I'll wait for Tyler Geary here just to check. But Tyler, I was going to say I haven't heard from anybody about any bad quality, quality control of breaking or anything like that. I haven't heard nothing. Have you? Because it's a good sign.
No, it is a good sign, and I didn't know they were doing this, but they also shipped like an extra Triclops head for the previous figure Cyclops that came out because So I thought that was nice they did that. But here's Dialemog, and with his classic smile, and I got him kind of leaning out a little bit here, but I mean you see the light bulbs on his head there.
Cool.
I mean, all these things, the discs, the nose doesn't rotate, of course, but the eyes rotate easily. Looks just so good. There's nothing to say.
I'll be honest, because remember, I don't own any of these, but I didn't know that was a rotating feature. I thought they were going to take plates in and out for the eyes.
No, you could see. There's the.
Oh, damn, that's cool. Now that's 100 times better. Wow, I thought it was interchanging face and mouth plates. I didn't know that rotated. That is cool as hell.
And they slide so easy. Like, it's so easy to move these discs. Manny Face is a little bit more harder to move, and he moves in one direction. Like, you can't go back and forth. It's you got to move it to the left side. But it looks great, too. And, of course, here's Karg. I got him holding his pistol there, and you can see it, just all the details in his face. I mean, God.
Who would have ever thought we would have had Karg?
After all this time, I mean, you wait long enough, you just kind of feel like with that magazine loophole, why haven't we gotten him sooner? But he looks just absolutely incredible, man. I mean, I just could not be happy. I mean, all 8 figures, they're just stunning. That Sorceress looks a hell of a lot better than the first one we got. So she's taking the place of the original one on my shelf of all the heroic warriors, because I just love. She's got a very, very pretty face, and her hand mannerisms. God, they just look so good. Like
two different set of wings too that you can put on.
Yeah, and they just snap under her arms, and I've got the folded so that way she's like standing in place and holding her hand out. Like, that's the one that I was going for. But they fit perfectly right on and off. It's easy. It's not like it's something that could break. They just slide right in, slide right out. Dialemog's headpiece. You've got the blasting horde symbol, the formation horde symbol. And then this one kind of ties in a lot more with the current roster of the Horde members. It's a little bit more detailed. So that's the one that I put on there to kind of fit in with everybody else.
That looks great.
Rat Trap looks just so menacing. I want to make sure I show Nathan Rat Trap, because Nathan's such a fan of the Universal Monsters, and he's probably going to be wishing he'd gotten a Rat Trap or something like that. But if you people are fed up or are still bitching and complaining about what Super 7 is doing with these things, you got no damn or anything to plead your case. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, you got these guys in hand. What the hell are you going to complain about? There's nothing to complain about here, people.
Yeah, because I don't, like I said, I have none of those, so I have no clue. That's why I always go by when I see people do live or something just to get a look. I think out of all the figures, the only thing I heard some complaints about, which first, hello, Captain Chronic and Grimbot, who has joined us in the chat room. Thank you for joining us. But it's what one of them brought up, which, Grimbot. I think the only complaint was a lot of people talking about the Sorceress's face, like with their eyes maybe looking a little wonky, like they were looking in a couple different directions. Does yours have that issue, or is this maybe some rare?
Oh, now I got to get it here.
Okay. He's like, son of a bitch, I got to go grab that thing. And sometimes they're just details that maybe people don't really look at or look up closely, but I guess we'll find out when Tyler gets his. But that's the only thing I heard were just maybe some wonky eyes, as people say. Maybe Tyler's.
Sorceress is fine. I'm looking
So
right
she has
at
good
her.
eyes? All right, shove her face up there and say something.
Yeah. Let's see here. Put her arm down here. But if you look real closely here, I mean, her eyes, I mean, they're in great shape. I don't see any problems with it. I don't know if you guys can or not, but she looks absolutely beautiful. They perfected the sorceress. I mean, she just looks so damn good. And then here's her other wingspan here.
And what's the other set of wings look like? Are they just down? Or what? Oh, right there. Okay. You know, I kind of like that. I mean, because some action features, I think no matter how hard you try, maybe just, I don't know. Okay, for the vintage line, it was just a cool-ass gimmick. You bling, and the wings popped up was perfect. You know, we were not going to get that kind of gimmick for classics. So I think doing a display with them open and closed, it works perfect for whatever display option you want to choose. Especially with some things that spring features, if they even had a gimmick.
I just like that. You know what? I'm not. I know some people insist on the gimmicks, but look, to not have these figures to be as posable as possible, I think dial them all. Yes, it's nice that you don't have to worry about slipping in disc. You can just do this easy rotation here. But with something like the Sorceress, where I'm just concerned about being able to pose her other than outside just holding her arms out, and that's really about it. Like that's just kind of how I like to have her posed.
Right.
You know, that's just awesome. And then here
the Dial-A-Bug was the shocker. That, I mean, really for me, I didn't until you said that. I did not know it rotated. I thought they were interchangeable plates, and that's a big shocker for me. So that just makes that figure 100 times cooler now.
Oh, I mean, God. I mean, just again, look at that devious smile. God, man.
Did he come with a pie? I'm surprised they didn't give him a pie or something.
No, it doesn't come with no pie. He just came with the various horde pieces there, and I think that was about it. And I didn't know this when I opened Many Faces, because I can't wait to put this on display. Like I said, I mean, a lot of the packing stuff I was aware of, but the Stinger Lance, Buzz-Offs, I was not aware that came with Many Faces. So, which is always my favorite.
I wanted to ask you, there's one thing about Many Faces, the weapon to where it's like a tri-blade, the one that's a question about that. Let me see. Are they all the blades? Because Jeremy DeWitt from Podcasters of the Universe, he made a little post, and a lot of people started noticing that the blades were all originally supposed to have the same direction they were going, but one is now turned the other way. Do you notice that with yours? Does it have it?
Yeah.
Oh, it does? Huh. Because even in the prototype
it looks cool, but to me, that's just like that doesn't, I mean.
I just wondered how it happened.
A lot of people pay attention to that stuff, but to me, just the fact that it rotates.
Oh, it's cool. Don't get me wrong. It's just like, of course, we seen the prototype picture. They're all the same way. So when he posted it, I didn't even catch it. Like, Grimbot even asked me, he's like, Joe, what is he talking about? And I was like, well, if you look, the one blade's different. I was like, I don't know. Yeah. And everybody had it. It just, for me, I wondered, how the hell did it happen? That's all that was in my head. Not that I care, like it's going to make me think, forget it, I don't want Many Faces now. But it's bizarre to think, how did that get turned in production? It kind of lost me,
Looking at it like that though, like holding it like this, it looks cool.
Oh yeah, it's cool.
Like it doesn't look odd or just but and then here's Rat Trap.
He's a cool ass mummy.
Yeah. Just I thought about posing him with his weapons, but you know what? I feel like a mummy like this, he's a badass. He doesn't need weapons, so I'm probably just going to keep him on the shelf, just pose like he's ready for battle, like ready to just go kick some ass for Hordak. A lot of these guys I probably don't like. Karg, I'll keep his gun. Granada, which you don't need. I may keep her gun with her. Some of the stuff I try to keep boxed up because it eliminates room space if I have them holding their weapons. So lots of times I just try and keep the weapons bagged up or something like that.
Okay.
But the only problem I'm having with is Zoar the Falcon fitting on her perch. She's got two small little holes underneath her clawed feet that fit right on the perch.
Mm-hmm.
It's very difficult to get them to slide right up in there. I still haven't done it. But other than that, you guys, everybody should be pretty happy with everything that we got here, and knowing that the next wave of Filmation that's coming, God only knows how great that collector's choice line is going to be.
Now, Super 7 said they were going to be popping up at Comic-Con this year, but did they, or New York Comic-Con, but did they mention if there's going to be any Masters of the Universe things that'll be revealed, or no?
Got me. I have not heard anything. I haven't seen anything, and I'd like to think by this point they should have, if not all four, at least one or two, and then like weapons to let you know, hey, you're getting these. They're just not ready yet. So here's the weapons that should probably give you an idea of who's coming. Just something like that. Just kind of give us a teaser, so just know who's coming before we actually see it. Something that we've been waiting long enough for it. But
definitely,
it's so good. I could not. I'm more pleased with this one than the last wave. It's just I kept oozing with passion for that last wave, but man, this one is just how do you top it? And I know for a fact that they will.
Well, now I guess we can wait.
Keep doing it.
Yeah, I was gonna say we'll just wait and see, because that's October 4th to October 7th is New York Comic-Con. So maybe some surprise will pop up. I just know that they said they were going to be there. I just didn't know what they were going to be showcasing. So, like you said, whether it be maybe an accessory or hell, maybe even a figure for the collector's choice could be shown. You never know. So
just something. Let us know something from the collector's choice. Hopefully we'll see Spider's wand or something like that on display.
Yeah, it's like
you know what? I will say this. I really hope, because is that this weekend?
Whatever the hell the 4th is. I think that's like a Thursday to Sunday or something.
Okay.
Usually,
I'm hoping we're finally going to see a meteor on display.
I'd lose it. I would
above all else, above Azrog and Spydra and anything movie related, I'd love to see one meteor on display. Astroline, Comic Cat, Dinosaur, Gorilla. I don't care. Give us just one meteor. That's what I want to see.
And I would say with how Super 7's doing a lot of these figures and doing things that you'd never expect before, I would think that they are the ones that would maybe give it a chance. They've done so many different types of figures. Like I said, just by talking about Dialamug himself, I mean, that is all completely new, retooled. There's nothing that's been reused for it. So that probably had to be one hell of an expensive figure to do. So if you wanted to go with some kind of logic of, like they said, all right, let's finally test the waters with a meteor. And they have one that has a smooth kind of like body, one with maybe scales or fur details. They could still be reusing that for other ones. So that basic shape with modified little bits of smooth, scaled, or fur detail, they could be reused. So, I mean, Dialamug, that's the one's like, damn, would you think they would have ever did that, knowing that you can't reuse anything from him?
It makes me want the prototype design too, like the one with the extendable arms and the more fanged, the Axel drew on the other Horde poster for Mad Dog. Like, it just it's not a must, but it makes me want that version just to see how damn good that would look in toy form. But they spared no expense with this guy here. I mean, I'm looking at all those light bulbs. All little light bulb is different.
That's what I meant. I can't picture how that happened. I would have never guessed Dialamug would happen just because of all the new tooling. That's all 100% new. That's one that shocked me. Yep. Hello. Hello, Kevin Sharp and JSP. Thank you for joining.
Hey, Kevin, what's going on, bud?
Yeah. So.
I'm so thankful to have all. I mean, let me hold up Rat Trap's face here. Look at the detail in his face. I mean, and you see all the muscle tendons in his body, like around his wrists and his legs. I mean, it's, God, just what a kick-ass character. Like, to know that we got a concept character that had not been given a name, I just kind of feel like, dude, the time has come for Orbs and a lot of other, top-tier Filmation characters that have yet, like Malacta and stuff like that. If you get a concept figure, God, man, it just kind of shows you, all bets are off. We could get anything at this point here.
Yeah,
especially the Orbs.
Because, like you said, just seeing him as the Horde Mummy, that's how he's always been. I even thought he was just going to be the Horde Mummy, but like you said, they gave him a name. Hell, it works. It fits them. We understand, what they're trying to do with the name game. First time I heard it, I was like, little indifferent, but hell, it's still, no matter what you want to call him, one cool ass looking figure.
I like it because I like to think of like he would use his mummy wraps as like tentacles, like they would fly off of his hands, and he would wrap up his victims, as like instead of shackles, he wraps them up in mummy wraps.
No, yeah, exactly. Which, well, like you said, Rat Trap. But now we got to see if they'd ever do a vintage version of him along with some others as well, which would be cool if we ever got vintage versions of him with other figures as well.
Oh God, yeah, a vintage version of this guy in Dial-A-Mug.
Yeah, those over. Like I said, It's cool that they're doing Filmation things of vintage, but I don't, like we said last week and countless times.
Keep saying over and over again.
We just don't want it. I don't want to have every single character again. I want to have things we didn't have and unique characters. But
I feel we need Slamurai, we need Hotshot, we need Lord Grasp, we need those guys in vintage. We need Strobo. We don't need another Man at Arms.
You know who I'm curious to see? If this is another one, it'd be an insane. It would be something that I would not expect if we seen I-Beam. If I-Beam...
Oh, yes, I-Beam and Brainwave and Netta and Compactor.
It just picture... I mean, it's the basic body of I-Beam is just a giant ball, and you can sculpt the little eyeball detail and veins. You got the arms, you got the legs already. That would be one that would shock me to see in classics.
I want that in vintage and classics.
Oh, yeah.
That's just a... It's an absurd idea, but God, to me, it fits. When Axel drew him with the rest of those in that one mini comic, I'm like, God, I want an I-Beam figure so bad.
It would be great.
Even when they had that call-in contest, where you had to call in and say which one you would like, I thought all those illustrations of I think Tim did those, I think. They all look great. And Fearless Photog in vintage form too, I think needs to be done.
And that's what I think needs to happen, because even though we had him in classics, Nathan Bittner, I believe that it was Nathan Bittner who created Fearless Photog. I'm sure the vintage one is what he probably really would always really have loved to see. So to get a Fearless Photog in vintage form and don't try to modernize it, do it exactly as how it's supposed to be, that'd be another one. So yeah, like I said, we could see what's hoping for the future and what we could possibly get. But Grimbot said, no, I-Beam, none of that crud. Oh, yes, we got to have I-Beam Grimlock.
Hell yeah, dude. I want an I-Beam, I do like the idea of making Netta, because Axel did the design of her as like an actual woman. And then you had like an expanded piece to kind of showcase that she would expand herself to become a net, but she looks like a very athletic-looking woman with a net skin tone, like her body is made out of net material.
Yeah, because that original concept, the original concept
that looks a bit,
different. It was
it's a hard seller.
Yeah, because I kept wondering, even when I was looking at that as a kid, and I was like, okay, here's the top 5 or however many they had that you could choose from. I remember looking at her just thinking, but I don't get it. Is if she was made, would she just be a big net? Or I just didn't get it as a kid. I felt like Josh and Big just saying, I don't get it. I really didn't. I was like, I don't get it. But I-Beam was like, hey, that's cool. Fearless Photog and Brainwave or whatever. I was like, these all look good. But yeah, she kind of threw me off. But hell, if they could do some kind of twist or change in the figure, you never know. And yes, Grimbot, I'm the exception. Tyler would hate it, but if people did want crackers, everybody has something they love. Hell, it'd still be cool too.
Yes. I'm not going to continue to slam crackers. If people want crackers, I want Azrog and Spydra. I want the Horde Brain. I want the Snow Goat character. I want a Malacta. So I will show support for crackers for those who want crackers, and a Chef Allen to our good friend Danielle. It's only fair. It's only fair. We got to. If we want something, we got to support each other here, people. It can't just be about what one of us wants. We all got to. I mean, we're getting 8 figures, once or twice a year.
It's something I could never do to anybody. I mean, knowing that I've been wanting the Meteorbs for all these years and it's never happened, and a lot of people saying, Joe, they suck. I don't want a Meteorb, and a lot.
Are you still hearing that from people who go out of their way to let you know they think they suck?
Well, you know what? I'll make a post tomorrow and we'll see what happens, because we will still I still see, quite a few people, but there's like more and more people are coming around to appreciate him. So that's what I mean. I would never then, if somebody said, hey, I would love this figure, I would never put down what anybody wants and would hope to see, because I was like, well, damn, I'd be a hypocrite. I'm pissed because people don't like the Meteors, but then I'm going to go back in their face and say, no, you want that character? It sucks. It shouldn't be made. Hell, if somebody loves something, like you said, I support anything. Hell, as long as it could be making money, making the line thrive. I mean, what's wrong with supporting something?
No, because I feel like, and hell, Axel just revealed Waspus.
Yeah, Waspus. That looked pretty cool.
Yeah, God, because we've been talking about an evil bug-like warrior for Skeletor and someone that would fly, and you got both. And I thought, God, there's another character that I want to see come to fruition. Anything that Axel throws out from his designs, like they all got to be made.
Most definitely.
But it's just an endless amount of characters and army. I still like to get for us to get more army builders, of other creatures that you just get of, and doing the Skelecons, re-release the Skelecons in a 2-pack instead of just that Rogue box set, because I never did get it because it was too damn expensive. It's now, but I'm just like.
You're right, and they couldn't army build them from the Ladybird books, and also the same thing when you had the Kobolds, when I always said they should have made them. Of course, those are creations of Larry Houston as well. I was like, those would be some badass army builders. So you're right, there's still plenty of things that you could make to do, army. Oh, hell, think of even those goofy-looking, strange-looking Horde troopers that I always bring up about, Prisoner in the Slime Pit. They're weird.
I would buy an army builder to those because it's a variation of the Horde trooper. Hell yeah, we'll use that.
And it would, because and it's a completely different look. There was no symbols on their chest, but they have these weird kind of pointed heads, but they're definitely distinct. So, yeah, anything, like you said, I think when they do army building, that just, well, hell, it's look at the Horde Troopers, how people wanted those so badly. First 2-packs, then, they had the single-carded ones that people went nuts for when they popped up on the Mattel shop website. But people like army building, and especially when it's anything that's kind of a unique look. And it's just more money for you, because it's not like people want to say, hey, give me 20 Cyclones. That's usually not going to happen. But
no.
The army builders of troopers and other things, and like even the Palace Guards and some of those Snake Man Warriors, there was not, I think, some of those look so distinct when they had the Snake Warrior 2-pack, but at least I've seen where they were going with it. But the Horde Troopers was the biggest ones that sold, that I've seen people getting a lot of, and people were army building the Attorney and Palace Guard, so. It would be interesting to see what could be their next army builder if they want to do some more.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like at this point you guys need to stop thinking there's no one left to do. I mean, Joe and I could dedicate a whole episode, an hour and a half discussion of characters that could be made. So if anybody is going on a forum or social media or letting you know there's nobody else to buy, who else is there to buy? I'm like, you want to start with the heroes or the villains?
Yeah,
it's endless supply here, people.
Oh my God, I was saying that just as I said, and we almost said that at the same time. But yes, an endless supply. But okay, well, now we're going to talk about a character we do. Like I said, we've seen this discussion a lot. The whole thing with Prince Adam. Not only how he's portrayed, but we can even talk about the character himself, of the Prince Adam character. I go to many groups, as do you, and people that are in the chat room, and people that are listening, to where people say, I wish they never had Prince Adam. Then some people say, I love Prince Adam. And it's always curious to see, like, you guys can pop up in the chat room, let your thoughts be heard too. But, okay. Yes, when the line was first conceptualized, and with the mini comics, yes, there was no Prince Adam. And of course, later within the DC comics, we've seen a Prince Adam character. And then Michael Halpern, I believe that's the guy who then used, when he was doing all his notes to create the Filmation Bible, they brought along Prince Adam again. Of course, like I said, first seen it in the DC books. But, okay, for the people that say they wish he didn't exist and it was always just He-Man, and it was just like the original mini comics, I bring it up a lot, and I'm not saying everybody has changed their mind, and I'm not expecting everybody to change their mind, but I sometimes say, what was so great in those first 4 mini comics? I was like, yes, the art was beautiful. As we dug into it, sometimes like, these stories were a little confusing at times, and not as epic as some might think. And I've seen people reread, and they thought the same thing. They said, it's different, but some people still love it. But do you think that the line, okay, just picture this. The whole, by the power of Grayskull, I have the power, that whole thing that everybody has emulated from the cartoon to then into comics and everything else, picture that is completely out of the equation. there is no transformation. There's nothing. The power sword is not like this thing that is basically giving He-Man superpower. It's half of this, a half of that. It opens Castle Grayskull to where you can get into the secrets. But he's more than a being just this strong, almost Conan warrior. Because when I first seen He-Man, that's what I kind of thought was a tribal warrior. But yes, we have science and technology and magic and things that you wouldn't see in Conan to some degree on things. But he would just be a strong warrior. He wouldn't be this guy that, well, basically, even though, yes, throughout years, it got nuts of him pushing planets, doing these amazing, insane acts, breathing in space. Yes, we know it got nuts at times, but you wouldn't have what some people call as the Superman version of He-Man with those powers. You'd have a guy, barbarian type, these different kind of adventures to where there's no transforming. Do you think it would have succeeded and went on without Prince Adam? That's what I'm curious about. Could it have worked with no Prince Adam at all?
You really hammered home something that I think a lot of people tend to neglect, and that's when people think He-Man, they think I have the power. Well, he doesn't have much of a reason to say that when the power sword is only half of it, and it really is its only purpose is to get you into Castle Grayskull if you got both halves. Other than that, it's just a weapon that the goddess or the sorceress bequeaths to He-Man to use to defend Castle Grayskull. That there was nothing else to it than that, you know. So you kind of feel like, well, if that's what you want, so I guess you get no transformation sequence, no by the power of Grayskull. I have the power. You have no sense of urgency with He-Man. Like you take away a level of peril when Adam has got to be, when he's in the position like of how do I transform into this and maintain my identity. I mean, it's done with a lot of superheroes, but that adds an extra level of problems, of not just from a storytelling standpoint, but from a character development standpoint. You know, when you read Spider-Man or Superman or Batman, you know, any of these where the heroes have to hide their identity, it adds an extra layer of texture to what the characters go through mentally, and you appreciate that, you enjoy that, and you wonder how the hell is Peter Parker going to get out of the apartment without Aunt May and Mary Jane. Well, Mary Jane, of course, does know, but without Aunt May knowing, so he can jump up, go to the roof, and take on the Jackal, and come back in time before the banana bread is done. You know, you're wondering about that. It's just a random scenario here, but it adds extra depth and danger to the character, and I don't want to see He-Man without that. It adds something that could be just done as a very cool kick-ass warrior, but you add a little bit more to that. You have him have problems with his parents, especially his father, having to pretend to be a failure, so that there's no way in hell, even though Adam and He-Man are not seeing the same place, there's no way you could think that they're the same guy, because Adam's a screw up. He's lazy. He wants to sleep around with women all the time and avoid all the royal duties, and you know, do everything he can to get out of hard work. So it just makes the character so much more fun to write and build up Adam's frustration as a hero.
It is. No, you're right, but it's a dynamic that's added that obviously creates so many new, different, and unique stories. Because if you have just a character who is just this powerful guy that lives in this damn house that he built with his fists, that he punched the bricks and made his house, it's like, are people just coming to find him all the time? How would that, if it was in the cartoon, how could that have worked? Like I said, you would never have the king and queen and him living in the palace, all the other things, the transformation, the trying to get out of the situation. My God, will I be able to get out to transform? Will they find out my secret? There's a lot of dynamics. It's like Delvis78 in the chat room brought up, and which is a good point. He said, He-Man would be so overwhelmed by people just running up to him all the time. When an emergency really hits, he might just throw his hands up because he's exhausted. I mean, picture that. It's like they're coming to him for help. They know where he's at. It's different. You know, it's something that I think just in cartoon form, I couldn't have pictured working. Believe me, I love the damn original figure and the original mini comics. Don't say I hate, think I'm hating them. I love them. I love it all. But when some people say, nope, anything past those 4 mini comics, it was all bad. It's like, okay, well, you have just basically discredited not only the entire cartoon, but every single mini comic that came afterwards. So you're saying the world of He-Man revolves around 4 mini comics. I find that to be just, to me, insane. It's like, that's it. That's all you see. And those comics, again, have a lot of confusion when you read them. But I know that now we know that they had to rush to get some comics to go with the toys, and then boom, here came the cartoon. When we seen the whole thing about the toys that made us, when we seen about why it came to be. But yeah, those four comics, while they look fantastic, they're not really some of the most amazing stories you think of.
They're not, and I feel like it's kind of like how people are with the live action movie. They follow, like, certain people just follow the word of mouth. What's popular? So you say you like those because you think they're more mature looking, or they're more, savage or something. Like, there's nothing more savage. You see more hand to hand combat. You see He-Man actually punching, characters and stuff. You see a little bit of blood in that first mini comic, and that's really about it. You're not given anything that's not given in all these other mini comics. And then I would say, all right, you throw out Clash of Arms, Search for Keldor, or the Hordak mini comic that we're going to talk about tonight. Throw out random examples. Okay, disprove me. What is it that's in these mini comics that clearly doesn't have what those first four do? And that's just four. I mean, if you throw out the Ultimate Battleground, the Snake Men, the Horde, those come a long way out. Are you telling me that the addition of the Snake Men and the Horde, and the beautiful artwork that Larry Houston did, and Mark Texeira and Bruce Timm, like, how the hell can you really look at other He-Man fans? And we're not saying that if that's your favorite, great, because I think it's great that all of us have different favorites, and we all don't like the same thing. But to act as if like He-Man stops after those first four because you have it in your mind that the consensus, I feel like that's a consensus thing. It's not so many fans, because I think, as we all know, that the hardcore fan base is not as big as it used to be. We have a lot of hardcore fans, but I'd be hard pressed to think a lot of casual fans are the ones that are saying it's all about those first four mini comics and ignoring all these great legendary stories that come afterwards, after those first four. Like, well, hell, even the next wave with the Mark Texeira work with Triclops and Trapjaw. How the hell can you look at those stories and sit there and say that they don't hold a candle to those first four?
Yeah, which those introduced. No, and within those, that's when we were introduced to a lot of unique and different characters as well. But you also seen a lot of action, and yeah, in those, there was no Prince Adam that was ever shown either. But those are amazing comics as well. But it's you're right. Like I said, I'm not saying, hey, if you like the first four mini comics and that's it, you're a moron. No, again, that's not what I was saying. But I've just had people that really, when they'll get into a debate to say that, they say it passionately, and they'll like rip into people that like anything past the other four. And that's why I speak up like we're doing now, just to say, yes, you can love and like anything you want, but don't just think, you like the four mini comics, and if somebody likes it past that these fans, they have bad taste. It's like, just as long as you're not back and forth name calling to what somebody likes, your opinion, it's great. But
no,
yeah,
but I also feel like to say, I mean, look, it's such a vast, universe of mythology that He-Man has gone through, and you want to narrow your idea of what He-Man and the Master of the Universe is just with these four books that didn't really have a consistency within them. Like, they're kind of just, like when you see Stratos in the first book as one of the evil warriors, or, people can do this and they can do that, and Beastman's firing blasts out of his hands, and
He-Man's firing it on and off and on and off, and not explaining how that happened in some of these
and panels. That's just with the artwork and stuff. I just feel like the story, and granted, the He-Man continuity was evolving over always, but I just feel like there's just so much from the Golden Books to the mini comics and stuff. Like, I just don't see how a He-Man fan could sit there and say that the rest of this stuff, and maybe they include the Golden Books, but obviously if they like the first four mini comics, they're probably not a fan of Filmation. And I feel like
big debate. That's the one where that's the biggest debate of all, is Filmation versus mini comics. Some people will include others, but then when you're including some of those, they wouldn't exist without Filmation. The vast majority would not exist without Filmation. Like you said, putting aside the first four mini comics and of course the Mark Texeira ones. But I'll see that debate. People say, nope, it's only Barbarian He-Man. That's all I like. And there's even fans of Masters that only like some of the first 8 or 12 figures. And they said, past that, they said, I was done with He-Man. I was like, so that's when I go into the line of what you say. Sometimes you do have the casual fans to where they just like some of the very early stuff, and then they were out. They maybe either went into a different toy they started collecting, or for whatever reason, they were just done with Masters. And those are the ones that usually say, "Yep, I only like the early barbarian type of look." But it's just you're right. If they would have stuck with that, unfortunately, I don't think the line would have continued as as long as it did back then, and a cartoon would have been very strange. Again, I love the original He-Man figure and the 4 mini comics as well. With like you said, you and I, we love it all. Sure, there's stuff that we can give not shit to, but we'll, let's say, dissect a comic or a cartoon episode, and there's a lot of them that are stinkers. But you got to appreciate all, at least give it a chance to appreciate everything.
Well, I feel like the vast majority of this stuff, I'd say 90% of what we got from all the media was great. You've got stinkers in Filmation and the mini comics, the Golden Book stories, hardcover to softcover, NYP had stinkers, whatever the case may be. The vast majority of what we've got, we're very fortunate. We haven't gotten as much as Transformers and Turtles has got in terms of media and stuff, because a lot of stuff still going, obviously. But for what we got, we have a lot of mythology to go back and look back at and make references to, and see a lot of these characters. Not all of them, unfortunately, didn't get fleshed out as much as others. But I feel like there's so much rich material here that you really should be able to go up to any casual fan. All right, look, I'm going to let you know why there's a lot more to this than what you remember. And if it's a cop out of you just saying, after that first two I'm out, I was like, is that just covering up because you just lost interest to move on to something else? And so you're just going to say you're done with it because you don't want to admit that you don't know as much? I'd rather you just sit there and say, you know what? I don't know who any of these characters are. And I say that because I don't have a logical reason. So just tell us you don't know who's in Wave 3 and who the Horde is and who the Snake Men are and who Clancho is.
Like you said, many
fans like us in this podcast. Yeah. What? Go ahead. Sorry, bud.
You're right. That could be said for many of the characters. Oh, and also I just want to say I'm trying to stay as still as possible when I talk, because when I use my hands with my Italian talking and moving, it's creating an autofocus in and out. A couple of people in the chat room kept saying, Joe, I'm getting motion sickness. You keep zooming in and out. And I know it's because of me moving my arms. It's been doing it for the past month, and I apologize. I don't know why. But yeah, it's the second I start doing this, and how I have to always talk with my hands, it's going to start going zoom, zoom. So
it's doing it right. It's doing it right now, yeah.
Yep, so that's why I'm going to just try to, and this is so hard. Like I said, I feel like somebody put a muzzle on me because my arms are to my side. But, okay. Well, when it comes to what I know of casual fans, you definitely know when you have a casual fan, it's when they refer to certain characters as Orko as the Little Red Magician. I've seen that so many times. The Bee Guy, which is Buzz Off. In the
blasphemy.
Blasphemy indeed. And the recent one I've seen so many is when people are talking about the new She-Ra Netflix trailer. And some people who did reviews for it and also just posting in some pages calling Adora Aurora. I'm like, what? Where? Huh? And especially with the one that at the beginning when you hear Light Hope saying Adora, and then after the trailer's over and the person starts talking about the trailer and reviews it, they call her Aurora. I'm like, yeah, you're a real fan. That's when you got the casual fans like, God, you didn't even hear it in the trailer, and you don't remember from when she was a kid. When you were a kid, some weren't even born at the time, but the ones that were born, I was like, yeah, like you said, if you don't know it, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. But don't come into like a debate like you're knowing every single thing in the world and you're kind of clueless on a lot. It's just like me and Tyler. We always say we don't know every single thing about Masters, Princess Power New Adventures. There's a lot of parts in media and things we don't know, but you just sometimes get different ways people talk. It's like, admit it when you're wrong. Hell, I'll say it right now. I'd never go into a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Transformers, or G.I. Joe discussion ever. I would get destroyed. I am a casual fan of that. I don't know it all. So, yeah, when there's things I don't know, I just kind of keep my mouth shut because I was like, well, if I go into this, they're just going to bury me and I'm going to look, stupid. So, and not that we're trying to ever do that to anybody, but no. I'm just saying, I just don't go into those debates. When I don't know it, I like to just sit back, observe, and see what's going on and try to learn.
Well, and plus, not to mention knowing how much information is out there. If you really want to get into a debate with other fans about stuff, do your damn homework. Don't sit there and accuse me and Joe of saying that Faker's not a robot. Like some moron did to me and Joe, like a year or so ago. You're with us both saying he was not a robot, and all we did was just post the card art, and he shut up and removed everything he'd said. It's just one of those things where I know who the guy was, and he just wanted to go at both me and Joe.
Yeah, that one threw me for a loop. Like, wait, what? He's not a robot? When was he never not a robot? I think that's what we said. Every canon he's ever been shown, he's a robot. What are you talking about?
Even the Filmation, when he's just conjured up, Skeletor calls him an evil, clone of He-Man called Faker. It's clearly he's a robot. He's speaking with a robot voice. It's just those kinds of people, and like Joe said too, there's a lot of toy lines and cartoons I know pretty good. Not as hardcore. Thundercats I know pretty damn good. G.I. Joe, I can't talk vehicles about G.I. Joe. Only some of them. Characters and stuff I know pretty good with G.I. Joe. Tremors, it's strictly like the earlier roster of characters. I don't know past into the late 80s and early 90s and stuff. I don't know. But some stuff, yeah, I can hold my own. Turtles pretty good, but I just I feel like I'm not going to go out and just, if I'm going to get into it, I need to have information to back it up. And in this day and age, when we can look up anything you want about any of these toy lines, cartoons, behind the scenes, dude, man, why is it so hard for people to do their homework? And yet, when you prove it wrong, they'll come at Joe with, well, I'm pretty sure I saw it somewhere. I don't really know at the moment now because I've just made myself into a horse's ass here because I've been caught and shown publicly that I'm a fraud and a phony and a fake, and because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But I'm a fanboy, and damn it, I've got to be right because I can't be humiliated on social media like this. I mean, I've got no wife and kids, or I've got this. Just shut the hell up.
Like the one that got me, there was a couple pieces of merchandise, and as we know, there is so much merchandise across the entire world for Masters that not anybody can own it all. It seems like just when you think you've had everything, here comes another weird piece. But remember, I posted my custom Mechanic Pez dispenser, and it was for a customer. And when I posted it, I said, seeing as they never made any Masters of the Universe Pez dispensers, I thought I would do this, and this is for a customer, blah, blah, blah. Then here came one of the fans and said, Joe, you are absolutely wrong. They did make Masters of the Universe Pez dispensers back then. I said, no. He was adamant about it. And I was and I was cool. I was like, actually, no, they didn't. I said, I know a lot of things that weren't made, and this was definitely one of them. Oh, no, it's guaranteed they made it. I was like, no. And then he showed a picture. And it was a custom. I was like, yeah, that even says it's custom. I said, those are customs. I said, are you confused of thinking maybe you've seen another line? He's like, well, I know they made a Skeletor. And I showed a picture of this.
God almighty.
It was a skull one that had like a purple hood. And he's like, that's it. I said, but that's not Skeletor. That's just a random skull character from like, I think they're like Halloween line of Pez dispensers. Yeah. He's like, well, I have it in my shed or like in a box or tote. He's like, I'll show everybody. He's like, please do. I was like, when are you going to do this? And he's like, I'm going to try to get it this weekend. I said, okay. The weekend came. I was like, you got it? No, I'm having trouble. That went on for about a month where I kept just doing it and eventually stopped. It's like, just admit it. You think you had a thought. If you're wrong, I'm not doing this to try to sound like a moron or make you look stupid. I'm trying to actually help you. So
well, you know what? The guy made the first mistake by coming out to you and saying, no, Joe, you're wrong. Instead of,
and that's when
there are ways to approach this because we all do this all the time with each other. I've done it with Joe. I'm sure Deuce and James have done it, and whoever you talk to. If you know someone's got their facts wrong, you say, well, I was thinking they hadn't done that before, or are you sure? Because I thought pretty sure they had. You don't just come out and be an asshole about it and say, I'm sorry, but, you're wrong because I'm self-entitled, and I'm the quintessential genetically modified genetic jackhammer of a fanboy, and I know more than any of you guys, and I got the no proof to back it up.
And that's what's weird, and that's why I was doing that. I do it just so, believe it or not, I'm not trying to make anybody look dumb when there's something I don't know. Because
when they do that, I think you have every right to make them look dumb. If they're going to come at you like that, then yes.
Well, I mean, in which you could, but I mean, what I'm saying is, I try to do it so they don't look dumb. Meaning, when you're saying it, and then there's more people attacking you. I don't like people jumping in and then calling this particular guy or anybody names, because of course, even when we were conversing, I never called him any name or said you're stupid or moron. But then people come in, so it's like that's what I'm actually trying to do, is save you any of these attacks that come from people who don't hold back.
I love how Joe's kind of coming off like he's a minister of truth. Like, I'm trying to save this man's soul here. I'm trying to ask him to repent, and say the power of Grayskull compels you, young sir.
Right. No, but really, it is. I'm just trying to be as cool and calm as possible with anybody that does that, because there's going to be the people that will attack. And sure enough, some of the people that came in started attacking. It's I don't know. It's just it's an aggressive way sometimes people come out with stuff. It's like, just watch how you say it, and then hopefully you won't have people jumping down.
Well, you can't stop what other people say. I mean, what other people have to say. All we can really do is we try to enforce it. But you know what? If some guy wants to come out and stir up shit and claims that he knows more because he's got a secret database with more stuff that even the internet itself has hidden away in some proper or hidden abandoned, cave, that he pulls a candle switch off the wall and he enters this cave of power here, and he knows more than even the people who worked on the line itself. Fine, whatever. But I just hate how people are so quick with all the information at their fingertips. They come out with their shoes untied, trip and fall right in Hordak, and then tell you you're the one that fell.
Hey, there's one thing. I mean, it's an actual piece of news that I think it was a couple weeks ago. I believe they said Funko, I think, will be making some Masters of the Universe Pez dispensers. I know I read that somewhere, so hell, I guess you will be getting some. They're going to be coming from Funko, but at what kind of scale, or if there's any weird tweaks to it, I don't know. But let's see what happens in the future for those. So I'll be interested to see, because think about this. Funko, since they do the Savage World line with the horror and doing Conan and doing Thundercats and Zorn and Mortal Kombat, they're obviously going to have to make a unique head. And I wonder if it's going to be what they would envision if they were ever to do 5.5-inch master style figures. You got to remember, that's what the Pez head sizes normally are. They're pretty much the size of, hell, you could pop them off and probably put them on an old He-Man figure. So I'm curious to see who they make and what it's going to look like, because that'll give us an indication of, damn, that could have been cool on a figure with some armor, body, and weapons.
I'd be curious about that, and I'll also be curious to know if that guy comes out of the war. See, Joe, I told you that they did come, and trying to pass off something. I mean, just silly nonsense.
Yeah,
like I could see it happening. That's why I'm glad I don't get involved with any of that stuff. I don't participate in any of that stuff, and it just most of the time it's Deuce and trying to make me look bad or something like that. And well, here's how
when you guys do
happened.
Yeah, when you guys do all your behind the scenes stuff with cartoon and making and the writers and who did the song and saying something, I'm like, you guys, man, you guys won that battle. I ain't jumping in with any of those Tyler Deucin, debates. I'm gonna stay out of that. I won't join at all. But
I'm pretty proud to think I could hold my own if I was on Jeopardy with Deucin and James E. Talk. I like to think I may not win the game, but I'll be like Rocky Balboa. Like those guys may be like Apollo Creed. I'll take them to 12 rounds. They won't actually beat me. It'll be a draw, but they'll get the win due to like points or something like that. That's how I like to think. And they're like, you think I beat him the last time? Man, I won, but I didn't beat him. And then they challenge me to a rematch, and I'd take them on in Double Jeopardy and win them in Final Jeopardy as well. It'd be great. Wouldn't it be great, Deucin?
Yeah, I'm going to have to see what he says in reply to that. I'm going to have to pass that on to James E-Talk, too. Say, seeing some kind of version of Masters of the Universe Jeopardy involving you three, I'd have to write down a set of questions and ask them.
That would be fun to do on the podcast. Like, you could be the Alex Trebek.
Yeah.
And we do like a Jeopardy with all of us doing. But we couldn't just do Filmation. We'd have to mix it up and throw in, obviously, a Filmation for 500. And then we'd have to do mini comics for 200. And then we'd have to do card art for 400 or something. Just mixing it up there.
Well, see,
of course,
that's when I would like to jump in with the other stuff, but I couldn't. But that's why I'd have to put you.
Well, sure, we could. Well, yeah, okay. If we did it that way, I mean, if we did it all Filmation Jeopardy, of course, me, Deucin, and James.
Yeah.
But I've always felt it would need to be mixed up, so that when we have contestants on, everybody has a fair chance. There may be a subject that you're more stronger at than the others, but at least I could beat this if I do double Jeopardy for 500 on, how many pieces of artwork did Gino Diachile do?
You had to bring him up, didn't you? It's like, I do it just because I know Joe loves it.
Because it's like, it is just one of those names that Joe likes the way it sounds. It makes it sound like he's intelligent for saying Gino Diachile. It's
person, he's done other art. It's not just
I know, but that would be like He-Man artwork for 500. This artist, drew many of the Golden Book covers and this and that. How many did he do, and what kind of
or hell, something as simple as he drew the cover for the Caverns of Fear, Golden Book, and that's when I'd ring it because so many people hit that buzzer and say Earl Norham, not just pointing that at you, but there have been a lot of people that thought Earl Norham did
because
that.
When you see Norm had done so many of those covers, because there are similarities, but clearly now, knowing that you pointed that out, I look at Sword of Skeletor, Caverns of Fear, and the others, I clearly see there's a difference in style. Yeah. There are similarities, but very different as well.
Yeah,
but boy, I even mentioned to Joe in passing, I think Joe just kind of like, go away, kid, you bother me. I always thought it would be fun to do like a Jeopardy on He-Man and have people on, and we have a Trebek and read off questions, have a final Jeopardy, and we could even do go ahead.
I don't know how difficult this could be, and we would have to try to possibly pick questions that maybe couldn't be easily Google searched. But maybe, since we got episode 156 coming up here very soon, and that's going to be our 3-year anniversary, maybe that's when we can involve the chat room. And also maybe a prize of some of your mini comics. Maybe we can even have other prizing be given away. But we can do our version for a certain segment of the show of Masters Jeopardy. We'll ask the question, and we'll wait for people in the chat room to reply. And whoever the first person is that gives the right answer gets a point, and we'll have maybe people go to whoever gets 5 first or 10 first could win something. But that could be fun, involving the fans with Masters of the Universe Jeopardy to win some prizes.
That would be awesome to do. Yes. See, there's so much potential doing a Jeopardy. I think that's an excellent idea.
Yeah, we'll have to do it. Yeah, because we were thinking of other ways of giving away some of the prizes and stuff, but 156, we wanted to be special. And yes, you're right. I was incorrect, Fedmon. I had to do it in the form of a question. He says, Joe, it is, who is Earl Norham? You must answer in the form of a question. You're right.
Yeah, when we do this, we're gonna make Alex proud. You have to answer in the form of a question. Who is Malactha? Who is Chakotay? Who is Larry Houston?
But think of that. I think we get some pissed off people because some people might not do it out of excitement.
Well, and if they're going to participate in the game, they have to play. We're not just going to break the rules just because you're pissed off.
I'm not watching the damn show no more. Yeah, we would. Well, I know people with excitement. They might want to type as quickly as possible. If they didn't put what is or who is, and somebody then takes it from.
We're saying it right now in advance. When we do this, you must abide by the rules, and all we're asking you to do is who is
or what
the answer. That's it.
Who is? Yeah, who, what, where?
Is? Yes, who is or what is? That's it. We're not asking you to do much. Just stay calm and just have fun with it.
Well, we got it set. That's one of the segments we'll be doing for episode 156, our 3-year anniversary. We are going to do Masters Jeopardy, and it's going to involve all you guys here in the chat room. So you're going to have to bring your A game, as we'd like to say, and some questions might be easy, and I'm sure it can be Googled. They're going to be ready, but I'll be bringing up some doozies as will Tyler, to where they won't
have to come up with who's going to keep track of scores. I mean, because we're going to have all those people in the chat rooms, so we're going to have somebody that's going to have to keep track of who's in there, who's out, and who's got what points.
Maybe Nathan could do that, because it's really hard. Like when I do the show here, I'm trying to obviously think about everything. When we start talking, I want to make sure my brain's fresh, conversing with you, but then I'm looking at the chat room just to see if there's any kind of question or thing going on. That would be too hard. So when that segment happens, we'd have to have Nathan join in. Nathan would be the one that would have to look, see what's going on. Hell, maybe he could even read the questions off for us so we could sit back and observe. It would take a little pressure off of, both of us. If we have things in advance of questions ready, maybe he could even ask them. But definitely Nathan will have to keep track of what the hell's going on.
So we'd have to have like 5 subjects and 5 questions per subject. Like,
Yeah.
so total 25 questions.
And whoever gets the most out of the 25 questions would win. That's a better way because, like, FedMon was thinking 5 points, due to time. But no, we'll just 25 questions. Whoever answers the most of those 25 questions when it's over, they'd be the winner.
And maybe we could simplify it a little bit and just make all the questions 5 points. Only because you've got, in Jeopardy, you got 100 points, 200, 300, 400, 500.
Hell, well, think of this. To make it so it's not even anything hard, there's 25 questions. Each question is a point. So that's just it. They get 1 point, 2 point, 3 point. We just add it up. Then we know who got how many questions right.
And then what we would have to do is, would we have a time limit? And if we have like 3 guys answer correctly within the time limit, we'll give them the point.
Yeah,
or is it the first person that gets it? Because the Jeopardy, obviously, the first one that bangs in gets the point.
Yeah, the first person that gets it, because then it would be a little too difficult to keep track. But we have to make sure that Nathan isn't drinking that night, so he can stay nice and fresh and focused. And then
I don't know. He may think drinking would probably enhance his experience of being the timekeeper and he's doing all the hard work. He's keeping up with all the stuff. Like, I think he's entitled to pound.
I'm going to interject for a second because, like a genie, I'm walking past and I hear my name and I see my name in the chat and I'm like, what the hell's going on? What are they saying?
Well, we're bringing up that we were going to do for episode 156 of Fans of Power. It's our 3-year anniversary, and one of the segments is going to be Masters of the Universe Jeopardy. That's going to involve the fans. And we'll have 5 categories, 5 questions each category. There's a total of 25 questions. And we will see, after we ask the question, who gets it right first, and whoever has the most points out of those 25 questions when it's over will be the winner, and they'll have a prize. Tyler will have something, I might have something. Hell, we might have a runner-up prize for who came in second, but we said we need somebody to tally the points of the name and the person. So that's why I said, we'll have to get Nathan. You could always have like a little...
He's not doing jack shit.
He's like, unless you pay me, I ain't doing nothing.
And then Joe was like saying, Nathan, well, I have to make sure Nathan's clean and sober that night so we could take care of all the scorecards.
Well,
as if Joe,
I hate to bring it to you, but if it's the weekend, sir, I don't know so much about that.
After that, I'm like, okay, Nathan, who's the winner? He's like, oh, somebody's got 97 points and another person got 22. It's like, how the hell that happened, Nathan? There's only 25 questions. I don't know.
Ask me, man. I just work here. It's just he hiccups over and over again.
You guys just make it seem like I'm just this generic person when I drink.
You're a caricature of a Looney Tune drunk, I'm sorry, man. It's like the drunk stork dropping off babies at the wrong houses and stuff like that. That's where we're painting the picture of Nathan. His hat's off at the side. I'm sorry, man.
Hey, I'll have you know that I'm a very functional drunk. Thank you very much. If you want me to keep tally on all this, I will be more than happy to. So that's going to be on episode 156.
Yes, that'll be our 3-year anniversary. So yes, you will see. You're going to be a part of our
maybe
stuff.
we can have some people that contribute questions. Maybe we can ask James to contribute a question, Deucin or Val or Danielle. People throw out like random questions, because otherwise it'd just be fun to not just me and Joe make up the questions, but have some other people. We could have John Atkins submit a movie question, like a category on the movie. We'd have John Atkins, hey, submit some questions like of trivia for. Dude, this is brilliant.
It's gonna be fun.
I love this idea.
Good. Yeah, because Delvis78 said, how about you only have so many people participate? Well, here's the thing, Delvis. Usually when we do this kind of thing, we have maybe at the most 20 people at times watching, a little bit less, and then we usually have a good steady of maybe the same 10, 12 people interacting. So, no, I want everybody to have a shot. Everybody that's in the chat room, if you're going to show up that day and participate, we'll see who can pop in and get the most. It'll be fun. I'll just love seeing who can get.
And we'll let everyone know in advance, and we'll probably should have like a time limit. Like when whoever's playing Alex Trebek reads the question, you've got 30 seconds to
That's
answer
our delay
correct.
too, isn't it? 30 seconds is our delay normally with anything. So
yeah, I think
we'll
so.
see.
So yeah, 30 seconds to answer correctly, and we'll make sure that all the questions that are being read have got the answer, so that way, and I can't see it because that's how my setup is, so that when Joe and Nathan are reading it or watching, they can see if someone is answering correctly, Larry Houston or Christina Fields. or Christina Pickles and Chelsea feels, geez, I just screwed up the Sorcerer Scintilla.
He's like, he's got one wrong.
It's like, who is Chelsea Fields?
Like,
or whatever. God, I'm getting too hyped up here about it. But yeah, I like this idea here.
All right.
This would be great. And we could do like, and next thing you know, we'll have like someone acting like Norm Macdonald on Saturday Night Live Jeopardy. You're like, yeah, it's funny guy. Or doing something like that, like not taking it seriously at all, like buzzing in, and Nathan's like, "No, that's not the right answer." Yeah, it is. I'm pretty sure it's the right answer.
God, it was just so weird to walk past the office room, and I'm like, I think I heard my name.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have to, and then I switch it to the headphones. I'm like, yeah, they're talking about me. What the hell's going on?
What did I do?
Yep, you're always around at the perfect time, but at least we weren't talking about a dinger or anything. So, well, Nathan, thank you for doing this.
Nathan's in the other one playing with his dinger.
Wow. All right. If anyone wants to know what we're talking about there, go over and check over Beyond Retro.
Beyond Retro podcast.
Yeah.
Harmless plug there.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, Nathan. We'll catch you here in just a bit. All right. Well, Tyler, how about you can start off, since I started off with the rambling about the whole thing with Prince Adam. Why don't you start off with the mini comic that we're going to discuss? And hopefully, we'll see if how many people in chat have read this one as well.
Yes. And to also plug the Leech mini comic, if you don't know, if you own it or you don't own it, I wrote the Leech mini comic to purposely tie into the story we're reading tonight. So if you read it and you're like, why is it end so abruptly with no like direct end? Like it's ends like that. So that way it's like within the same day, the events of that mini comic fall right into this. So, as like a nice little prequel, so to speak, but also give you a competent Leech story as well. But, we're going to review Hordak, the Ruthless Leader's Revenge. And as I've said many times on the podcast, it's in the top 3 stories of all time. It can be argued to be the best of all the mini comics. If Clash of Arms was not your absolute favorite, this is by far, if not one of the greatest He-Man's. I mean, definitely one of the greatest mini comics, but I'd say definitely the greatest stories that ever been told about He-Man, period. Past, present, sure. It's going to be hard to top this just on top of who all's involved. It's a simple story. It works because it treats all the characters the way they should be portrayed. It's got beautiful artwork by our main man, Larry Houston, and opens just with this. I've always loved that first panel of seeing the Horde playset and Hordak kind of standing in front of Grizzlor and Montana, seeing the portal to Eternity is opened up after all this time. Like it just doesn't happen too often. And commanding him to go get one of Skeletor's warriors and tell him my message to meet with him, and just all about this big plot just to even with Skeletor. However, the story really comes off like they are trying a legitimate team up, but obviously they do plan to turn on each other. It just happens a little bit sooner than expected. And this is, I like to call it the Royal Rumble of He-Man stories, because this has got, so other than the Snake Men and later waves of characters, this has got everybody, almost everybody that had been released up to this point, all in one giant fight in front of Castle Grayskull. And as we know, that Hordak sets up a meeting with Skeletor over in a secluded area over a fire to kind of just talk as mano a mano as the Horde members just overlook and building up this bargain of like, okay, we're going to make this alliance, and Skeletor doesn't trust him. And Hordak says, all right, I'll let you have Grizzlor and Leech. I don't know. All right, I'll give you Montana. All right. And then Skeletor thinks to himself, I got all his guys in my command. I've got my warriors. And when the time is right, I'll turn on Hordak and take him out. And Hordak's planning to do the same thing. Classic villainy. And prior to that, you see, obviously using Stinkor as the messenger. And it's just this fun, epic build-up to lead up to one of the most beautiful illustrations of Skeletor with the Spider leading the Horde and the Evil Warriors into battle to attack Castle Grayskull.
And when do you get to see Spider prominent in any mini comics usually?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember as a kid, I had no idea what Spider was. I actually thought, because I'd never seen him before, since Hordak shows up riding the Land Shark, I thought Spider was one of Hordak's vehicles. So like they were trading off, like, I'll take Spider and you can have the Land Shark. Like they're just trading vehicles since they are that was my naive thing because I had not seen Spider before as a child.
Well, hell, what's funny is that's how the comic almost seems like they're implying it, because remember when Skeletor arrives to Etheria, Skeletor wasn't on Spydor, but when he left Etheria to come back on the Eternia, he's with Spydor. So it was almost written as if maybe they thought that Spydor belonged to Hordak, possibly, or just it was a way of getting the vehicle into the damn comic. Because you're right, later on, Hordak shows up on Skeletor's Landshark, which Skeletor makes sure to know. Wait, he's got that's Landshark, that's my vehicle. I also like
and that just hammered home, thinking, okay, whatever this vehicle is that Skeletor's in, that's Hordak's, and that because I knew as a kid the Landshark was a Skeletor vehicle. That I knew early on, there was no mistake in that as a kid.
Yeah, and didn't Grizzlord have a way that he spoke like, it was like caveman talk, or like me this, me that.
Yeah.
I think it's when he brought in Stinkor. Didn't he say something specifically when he brought Stinkor?
He just growls, and when he comes back, he says Grizzlord return. You can almost kind of picture he talks like Grimlock.
Grimbot, or like Hulk Smash,
Grimbot, Grimlock. Yeah. Damn it. I'm overthinking. Is it Grimbot? Yeah, Grimbot, not Grimblock. Grimbot, excuse me.
I thought it was Grimlock. Wasn't it Grimlock? No, you got me. Wait,
no.
Grimbot.
Son of a bitch. I was just watching Transformers yesterday. Grimlock. Yeah, it is Grimlock. Now getting Deuce and confused with the Transformers character here.
Okay. Yeah, because I always thought for some reason I thought Grimlock was the dinosaur transformer.
Yeah, he's the T-Rex. The T-Rex. Grimlock.
Yeah, the T. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, the leader of the Dinobots. Yeah.
All right. And you said his name was what again?
Grimlock.
Yeah, Grimlock. Just want to make sure you said it. Good. But yeah, he had that way he spoke like him, or you could even see like, Hulk. But what I did like was when he brought in Stinkor and how they're all discussing with him. I also like, before Hordak was done telling them about basically give my message, it's how he was holding Stinkor. Hordak is holding him like he's just a rag doll. And then he does this. He just goes and throws him off to the side into the portal. Now, did you catch another thing? I don't think they even dug into what the hell was happening. But when Hordak shows up on Landshark, now you first see a distant shot. It's shadowed off, I believe, and you can see it's Hordak on Landshark, and I swear you see off to the side a shadow of like Stinkor. Then in the main panel comes Spydor, and you see Landshark, but part of Hordak's side is cut off. But in the next scene, he's holding Stinkor still. It's like, what, he got him back? And then I don't think you've seen him anymore, did you? But I love how he's like Stinkor.
Well, no, I took it as that, Stinkor's running along the Landshark, and in the panel where you want to see Hordak and Spider or a Skeletor lined up, he's grabbing Stinkor off the ground and holding him up. And then I love how he just throws him to the side. Like, even though I like Stinkor, he's not written nowhere near as good as he should be, but he's just kind of thrown off like the comic relief. Like, you get out of here. And it's like it kept happening over and over, but it just showed almost like kind of how strong, in a way, Hordak is, that he's just grabbing a gigantic 200-pound, human being, or, living being, and just throwing him ragdoll style. But, yeah, you're right. They're doing this whole ploy to team up to defeat He-Man, which in itself, yes, it's basically they're ready to, take each other out, along with, yes, they'd like to have He-Man taken out. That'd be like icing on the cake. But I think more of it, obviously, was this, it's the animosity and grudge that has existed between Hordak and Skeletor all these years. As much as they might still hate He-Man, I always believe that they hate each other even more. Oh, I agree with that. I would see them, even though we've seen them do team-ups like in here and Secret of the Sword, they're always going to be plotting against each other. And I almost feel like if Skeletor felt that Hordak was actually going to be the one to defeat He-Man, he would team up with He-Man to defeat Hordak because he wants the right to defeat He-Man personally. That's like, if anybody's going to defeat He-Man, it's going to be me, not my old mentor. Just because of their pure hatred of we always kind of felt like Hordak. Even though they both use technology and stuff like that, but clearly they have their differences. They both feel one is better than the other.
But you're right; it plays out in this. You're right; it definitely played out that hate. To forget it. It just, instead of any focus on the He-Man and the heroic warriors, it went right to the Horde against the evil warriors, and they're going at it. And as you said, you always love seeing, which I did, and many people here that are in the chat room and listening, when you see the face of He-Man and all the heroic warriors when they're standing back looking like they turn on each, they're fighting, they're just watching them go at it. You see Jitsu and Cobra Khan and Leech and Grizzlor and in Mantenna, they're just all having, like you said, a big battle royal. It's like that would be one hell of a sight, especially when you thought you were going to be the focus of being the person they're going to come after, and now they're doing your work for you. But even within seeing that, it's like He-Man can't take it anymore. It's like, okay, this like needs to end basically, and which was weird. He said, by the power of Grayskull, like we were saying earlier, like, but he's He-Man, why is he saying it? But it's like maybe it generated and powered the sword, and it cracks, like, part of the Eternia part of the land in half to separate them. Like, that was his way of saying enough. Because why is it some of these main comics that we talk about sometimes where there's some of the best, He-Man isn't really even the focal point. Like, when we speak of Clash of Arms, He-Man is basically zero focal point in Clash of Arms. Than this, he's okay, maybe 5%, 10 maybe. It's like he's not the focus, and it still makes it a great comic. It's like he doesn't have to be the main person that's in this to make a good story, because it is great. If you guys haven't read it, it really is fun.
I mean, it just validates what we were arguing, that why would you denounce the mythology, past those first 4 mini comics? This mini comic alone buries all 4 of those. I mean, from a story like this, it pretty much focuses on 2 factions of villains teaming up, which, comic book fans or whatever, we all love, team ups with the villains, knowing full well they're going to turn on each other at some point, but knowing that it's not just the villains, but they bring in their factions of henchmen to all work together and to all see them prominently turn on each other. And you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 fights going on. Of course, Spycore's taken out of commission, by many faces. So, I mean, obviously, when you see that beautiful splash page, you've got quite a few characters. You can't fit everybody in here, but most of the prominent characters.
Yeah, I was going to say many faces. He's lucky he hit Spycore's face, because that's about all you're going to punch is that. If you hit something else.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, we don't have like Trapjaw and Triclops and Evelyn featured in this. It's more or less like the current roster of characters. So I probably misspoke a little bit when I was saying you're seeing the vast majority of the characters.
Well, because Evelyn was in it, but she wasn't taking part in the battle.
Well, yeah, and Triclops is in it too, but he's not part of the battle as well. Right. So,
right.
You don't have Beastman, and you don't have Trapjaw and Merman. You're featuring pretty much the 84 roster of characters and some of the 85 as well. But, you've got Whiplash versus Grizzlor, Cobra Khan, Mantenna, Jitsu, Leech.
Get the Bashosaurus.
The Bashosaurus is featured. Spydor, Landshark, Roboto, Fisto, Manifaces, Manadons, Ram-Man, Tilo, Orko, He-Man, Stinkor. I mean, you've got so many characters featured in this one book. And it just I almost feel like you could have just had a book on just the villains themselves, because of how awesome this is. Like, just seeing the Horde take on the Evil Warriors in a simple disagreement that leads to this one giant battle. And this just validates how vast and rich Master of the Universe is. When this one mini comic here, it's another one. I don't find it to be as celebrated. It's just always about this first one mini comic, and it drives me bonkers to think that all these casual fans are ignoring all those stories that, dude, look at this. Look at all these badass villains beating the hell out of each other, and then Jitsu and Whiplash. It's almost as if like in a tag team match, when you got the Rockers and the Hart Foundation, and Jim the Animal bumps into Brett, and Brett's like, dude, what the hell are you doing? And then they turn on each other. Like, that's what I kind of figured happened with the Horde and the Evil Warriors, is that they bump into each other or trip and fall due to trip Whiplash's tail. So Jitsu gets pissed off, attacks him. Leech attacks Grizzlor, and it's like, dude, all hell breaks loose. Like, this is just perfection. It's what you would want to see in an awesome Royal Rumble match. Everything goes. When you think you got an alliance, your buddies team on you to get the upper edge, or it's by accident. Kind of like with Hogan and Warrior, like Warrior gets eliminated by Hogan by accident, inadvertently. See, it's just kind of one of those things, and you're setting up that feud. Like, God, it's just so much fun to be had with this. Larry Houston, I don't know if you'll hear this or not, but man, you drew one of the most beautiful pieces of He-Man art in this particular story here. I mean, all these characters, the ferocity of all the characters, the malice.
Again, he can tell a story, like we said before. He can tell a story with his art, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be able to look at a comic and basically understand what's going on without even words. and his art says it all. But hell, I mean, even just starting off the comic with just the cover, the intensity of that. God. Just I love seeing how Skeletor just psychotically running with that axe with the bulb on top. We've seen, used sparingly.
Yeah, and Diamond Ray disappearance. Yeah.
Yep. And Hordak having that serpent staff, which was in his concept, right? Wasn't that something he had in his concept?
That was part of the concept art. Sure was.
Yeah, so I love that made it on there. But every one of his covers, just you feel like you're just ready to go. And it's just like I always said with Clash of Arms, saying it right there. But seeing this one, it's like this is excitement personified. Just seeing that many people just popped up on the cover of a mini comic, and then that many plus some, and then more, and vehicles within it. It's you can't.
And it doesn't feel like it's too much. It doesn't feel like an over congested, Marvel movie or something like that. You feel like even though you can't give Ram Man but so much to do in this, or even Fisto doesn't do really much anything in it, but it's still exciting to know that all these guys, you don't have enough panels to show everything.
No, and I'm sure he would have loved to, but you're limited to the amount of panels, pages, and space, so there's only so much he can get in and try to do with, because you're thinking, why wasn't there a little more interaction between, Jitsu and Leech or somebody else? Why couldn't we got more? It's like you can only get so much, and each piece and page shows enough to whet the appetite, to get you excited and keep you going along in the story to read more. So,
and to me, this is more about the villains anyway. Like, this is the villain's story. That's what the focal point about this is. This deadly alliance between Hordak and Skeletor that's inevitably going to blow up in their faces, and they're all going to turn on each other.
No, it's true. And that's the other thing I like with when Larry would do something. He doesn't do what you'd expect, meaning when you see Jitsu, you'd assume, okay, Jitsu's got the big, gigantic golden hand. He's going to do some chopping. Nope. He had him doing a kick. I like seeing something like that. It's like it throws you off. You don't have to expect just to see every gimmick in something. You still want to make it exciting, Because sure, I'm sure Jitsu, yes, he'd like to chop, but I'm sure Jitsu kicks and does other things as well. So keep it fresh, keep the eyes entertained.
And that one panel, which has always been one of my favorites as a kid, but the one of the evil warriors charging at the Horde, Whiplash throwing his tail at Grizzler, and Grizzler just looks like he could just tear anything apart. And he even says it, slimy swamp thing, I'll tear you apart. Cobra Khan firing his Mr. Montana, and he gets blasted by Montana's eye blast, and Jitsu and Leech are charging. It's just, that's just such an epic panel. What He-Man fan would not want to see all these evil warriors and Horde members just charging at each other and just fighting, just fight.
And that's what I love.
No,
but you're right, and that's what I love about these mini comics. They always felt a lot more serious than the cartoon, which we know, yes.
Hell yes.
Yeah, because that's the thing. We know the cartoon, yes, we know that had to be dumbed down and toned down for the kids.
Even the cartoon has some very serious, kick-ass emotional moments.
It does, but like you said, later on through some of the stuff, they couldn't give us as much action or as intensity because that'd probably be too violent to see animated. So we got them in comic form because this is definitely a different Montana as well, meaning I love the pride that Hordak takes in his evil Horde members.
Oh, absolutely. Like yes, he presents them as like, these are the best of the best.
Right. He's not treating them like they're buffoons that work for him or simpletons and can't get anything right or going to pop them down that trap door. Like you said, first presenting Leech and Grizzlord to Skeletor, and then after all that, like, okay, well, how about this? You take my Sentry Montana, who can see distances. And, it's like he's trying to showcase and say, listen how badass my character is. He's giving Montana respect in this comic that you never would see in the film.
I know, because Montana's standing there just so, like, calm and collected, like, I'm a badass. Like, right next to Hordak,
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's presented as one, talked about as one, and like you said, standing arms crossed, and he just looks like, man, I'm going to kick some ass. I love it. I love the confidence of Montana as well.
And that's what you want to see. And that's when I get pissed off when you got your goofy casual fans making a mockery of all these characters that we love and hold dear to our hearts. We're talking about the baddest of the badasses. And this is one of the prime examples of that very thing. And like you tell those morons, like, there ain't nothing funny or laughable or silly about He-Man. I mean, you show them stuff like this. This is the way these characters should always be portrayed.
And I wish it would have, because it's like Grimbot said, and sure, you're correct. Yes, the mini comic was done before Filmation. Yes, and you are right. It's just, that's what I mean. It's sad that we couldn't have got that in the cartoon, but we know we couldn't have got that in the cartoon. They just There's no way they would have allowed it. I would have loved it. Could you imagine how more intense the cartoon could have been if the characters were portrayed like they were in the mini comics? That would have been one hell of a thing to see.
I mean, I and it just shows you to me that way there is still room to do another He-Man animated series, and we would see an episode like this alliance between Skeletor and Hordak, and the Hordsmen are all portrayed as, henchmen that Hordak respects, treats almost as equals. Obviously, he's going to hold himself in high regard, but he looks at them as superior warriors. This is the best. My guys are conditioned and created and trained to be better than anything Skeletor could ever hire. Like, I just, you look at that and just all these, but then Skeletor's warriors, they all look like this is the finest. You will not find any stronger martial artist than Jitsu, or any more fearsome creature than Whiplash, or a more cunning warrior than Cobra Khan, feared hand combat warrior than Spikor. Like, you almost feel like that, they've always felt like they can do better than the other. And to have villains so vast and widespread like that, it just makes He-Man and She-Ra's struggles to win the day that much more enjoyable, when the danger is always larger than life.
And danger is always there. I'm glad you brought that up. It's something that, again, some people will debate. They'll always say, well, when you look at Etheria, it's a planet that has been taken over by the Horde, so the story is that much more intense in depth, with being deep. But I always said, well, you think about being on Eternia. Just because it has not been enslaved by Skeletor and all the evil warriors, you still have to defend your planet constantly, all the time, from their attempts to do it. So both stories, from He-Man and She-Ra, they're both great, but don't try to make it seem like one is greater than the other. Because, you're constantly, because, like I said, you're constantly trying to either free your planet or protect your planet. And in doing so, you're always in battle. So it's still just as bad. And, like I said, the threat is always there, no matter what, whether the planet's taken over, trying to free it, or trying to defend it. So they're both great stories, but I would never say, oh, He-Man, he has it worse, or in She-Ra, she has it worse because she has to. No, they both have it. They both got it bad.
No, I mean, He-Man to me is a hero that I'm called 24/7. Because he's he just always has to be called to battle because someone's after something. Whereas the Great Rebellion, they're trying to break the tyranny. I mean, they're on patrol as well, also 24/7, I think. But I feel like their situations are different, but they're also the same.
Exactly.
I don't feel it. People like the idea of setting She-Ra's series with the villains in charge. As a child, I never really got that because She-Ra's always kicking their ass at the end of the day. As an adult, or a teenager, I understood a little bit more that, even though the Horde get their ass kicked every episode, they're running the planet. Whereas, you watch He-Man, he always saves the day, but Grayskull's constantly under turmoil. If it's not from Skeletor, it's from Clawful and Trapjaw, Evelyn and Triclops, or you've got Negator, or Mask, or Kothos, or
it doesn't stop.
It doesn't stop. It never stops.
That's what I mean. When you don't have the power and you're trying to get it, you have a bloodlust. You have a thirst to keep trying. You're never gonna stop. It almost, in a way, just like I said, would make it seem worse. But like I said, it's really not. But they both are under strife and battles constantly. So I would never, like I said, put one over the other. I've heard debates on that before with
I have too.
Yeah, and I always say neither of them have it worse. They both have hell that they have to put up with, and it's not fun.
To me, I still find that both, even though they're like what they go through, like Adora realized that how she'd been raised by the only person she knew was her father is a tyrant, a dictator, a very evil man, and then decides I've been living a lie. I've been raised completely. That's interesting. And then you got Adams, who is trying to live like he's part of the royal family. Adora, she is, but she's not. She doesn't have to worry about keeping up this guise to. She does with the Great Rebellion and stuff like that. But I almost feel like Adams makes his situation a little bit more dire. Like, you don't have to, like, Adora's not really worrying about appeasing Bo and Glimmer and Castaspella. Like, I almost feel like it's a little bit more relaxed with Adora maintaining her secret identity. Whereas Adam, he's got the royal palace, the king and queen of Eternia, and everybody around him. He has got to keep up this disguise of being someone who doesn't care about royal duties or anything that's important. It's all about sleeping and womanizing and stuff like that.
Also,
Adora doesn't have to worry about that.
No, and just a quick little point about Prince Adam, what you said, where we get it with Filmation, where he has to, it seems like, put on the bumbling oaf little routine, or doesn't really care, or might want to be lazy. But that was the difference with the DC comics when you had him first. He really didn't give a shit. He loved being out with the women and carousing, but didn't act like a bumbling fool sometimes. So there were differences in his character. And then I felt like they even put that with when you had MYP. He's always late, he doesn't care, he's sleeping, but now he has to learn about his destiny and definitely learn to become this hero. But yeah, interesting dynamics to Prince Adam, and yeah, I like your little, difference comparisons with Adora and Adam. Those were good.
Yeah, they're both different but same, but I feel like they both have a lot of depth to both how they are introduced to their power, their responsibility of keeping their identity, which to me, I don't want to see He-Man and She-Ra without a secret identity. That adds so many more layers to their issues of what they have to go through in this fantasy world.
No, you're right. A lot of more situations, different stories that you constantly get. And when you talked about Adora, I guess the difference with her is, like you said, first she's with the Horde. She thinks they're good. She's always, been raised to see that. But then she sees what the Horde's really doing. And of course, then her whole destiny comes. She becomes She-Ra. Now she's in the Whispering Woods. And now she has a new immediate family. Now she's having people that genuinely care about her as Adora. And she's genuinely caring about all her fellow members of the Great Rebellion. So she's got a new family and a new, people to now protect. And now that's why she has to keep her secret identity as well. But she's got something that she's never had, family and people that truly love them. You don't have to be blood to be family. So it's something new and a new dynamic that she obviously had to grow with as being in the Whispering Woods and learning to try to free this planet, a planet to where at one time she never knew it was under tyranny and under the rule of the evil Horde.
And she says, too, she's not even really aware of what goes on outside the Fright Zone, that she spends most of her life inside the Fright Zone training and probably being brainwashed by Shadow Weaver and learning to fight and things like that, but not actually seeing, almost as if like Hordak was just biding his time, and that we take over Eternia. I've got the rightful heir to the throne. I have the daughter of the royal family, so I could easily just walk in and claim the palace for myself because my daughter is the heir, to the. And, oh my God, man! I tell you, it just stuns me the kind of stuff that you and I could do for Master of the Universe, man. If we were just given the pen,
we come up
instead of this botched version on Netflix that's coming out soon, where it's all about.
Hey, we're gonna have like Grimbot said, we're gonna have a singing horse. So so that.
The hell with anything serious and competent. We got a singing damn horse that's coming. That's gonna revolutionize She-Ra and just make all the fanboys living in our parents' basements. We don't know jack shit about stuff. We just stuck up our own asses because we're stuck in the past too.
Well, we got about a month and a half to see what's going to happen there, so it'll be interesting. But, God, we did so many things we talked about. Again, if you guys had a few questions in the chat room you wanted to ask us or anything about the cartoon, mini comics, movie, or something, pop them in here before we get ready to wrap it up, because now I'm going to pass it to Tyler in case you got anything you want to recommend or say.
I'm always going to suggest checking out Kevin Sharp's artwork. Check out Axel Jimenez's artwork. Check out Joe Amato's Customs. Go to heman.org. If you don't know info, you need to go. You don't have the mini comic. Go to heman.org and read the Hordak mini comic. Check out John Atkins' Master of the Universe movie fan Facebook page. Constantly posting all kinds of great trivial stuff about the live action movie, from new pictures and behind the scenes stuff and all kinds of wonderful things. He's done interviews and things like that. Check out his stuff. I will do another giveaway. The people who won last week, your mini comic should be in the mail tomorrow. I apologize for not getting them out any sooner, but I finally got around to getting the mailing supplies for that stuff. So I'll do another giveaway tonight if you go to the Fans of Power Facebook page and answer this question. How many episodes did Modulok appear in the He-Man and the Master of the Universe series? How many episodes? And what were the names of those episodes?
Well,
that is my question to you.
Well, I think the Google searches will begin. No, if it can be Googled, I don't know, but guess we'll have to wait and see.
It may require you to use the James Z Talk's First Testament or his New Testament, whichever one you may own, to look up or dig through your episodes. But I know the answer right now. I know the names of the episodes. I'm sure Deucin knows without question already.
Yeah,
so
we can't let him.
You don't count Deucin.
Yeah, I was gonna say he don't count. He'd have it in 5 seconds.
No, I'm sure the minute I said it, he knew it.
Oh, probably.
So he doesn't count.
How many concepts there were and how many production cells and angles and shit. But all right, well, thank you for that. Now I'm going to pass to a couple of the questions that we have right here. First one is from Zentron. Zentron said, which of the evil warriors or horde do you think could possibly turn and join the heroic warriors or Great Rebellion against their former comrades? As a kid, I think it's because first scene when she was teaming up with Teal, when I seen Evil Lynn do it, I thought, wow, that would have been cool. But, Skeletor's got to have, you got to have the badass evil witch. You have to have her, so she can't be good. Because he looks humanoid enough, Triclops always seemed like, for me, he could belong and kind of mesh right in with heroic warriors. Just for me, it seemed like Triclops could. But when it comes to the Horde, that's weird. It'd be, I would think because of the treatment he got in the cartoon, we were speaking of Mantenna earlier, you figure that's the one person to be like, you know what, I had enough of this shit. Because Mantenna has accomplished a lot with all his different disruptor beams, eye beams, freeze beams, and all these rays that come out of his eyes. He's actually accomplished more than a lot of the Horde members in that cartoon. So I'd like Mantenna to say, you know what, damn it, I had enough of you. You ain't going to treat me with respect. I'm going to join the Great Rebellion. So how about a twist for Mantenna out of all people? So, yeah, maybe Triclops and Mantenna.
You actually picked the two I was going to pick.
No shit, really?
Yeah, great. Because, I mean, Triclops, I think, I wouldn't want to see Jitsu face. I want to see him stay evil. Cobra Khan. Triclops, because of how he was portrayed in that mini comic, in the Terror of Triclops. Mm-hmm. And had a really kick-ass illustration of Axel, and that Axel had done of Hero and Triclops team up to take on Azrog.
And that Triclops was his best portrayal in that damn mini comic. That was perfect. Yes. I love how Triclops.
Yeah, and it's not saying that he's has the qualities of being a good guy. What we're saying is that his code of honor, that he's not out for blood, that he is out to take out He-Man, but knowing he made a point to say, I didn't kill your friends because I wasn't instructed to kill them. I took them out. Like you show that, he's not out just to mindlessly kill people like you would imagine Merman or Beastman or even Trapjaw would do. So because of that kind of somewhat of a code of honor or value that he maintains. And I also feel like Triclops is quite loyal to Skeletor. Not someone that's thinking against, but you know what? If he got to where, you know what? I've supported you for a long time. I've followed you into battle. I've taken life, but there's just thing about this that, you know what, I can't see myself sticking around for the, it just has a logic behind it. But yeah, Triclops and the Mantenna clearly from the lack of respect. I mean, the guy Mantenna is the whipping boy of the Horde in the She-Ra cartoon. The guy that's been dropped on his ass more times. I think for want of a horse, he's dropped at least twice in the same episode, I think. And I remember, because there's that one, I remember watching it as a kid when he's dropped down and She-Ra's broken into Free Swift when he comes flying down the chute. And she asks him, are you okay, Mantenna? He goes, yeah, Hordak does this to me all the time. And he goes, She-Ra! And then he immediately turns on her. But for that moment, I'm thinking like, wow, they're actually kind of, they're not.
Right.
They're not, it was just, but then it turns like, damn it, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mantenna and Triclops.
All right. Well, I guess both good choices. So, well, thank you for that question there, Zentron. Adam Gabbert says, Joe and Tyler, would the Masters of the Universe fans be okay with a new claymation filmation He-Man series for TV in the future if someone makes one? Adam, I don't think so, just because that would probably give me like flashes of Christmas specials, from Frosty and Rudolph and
hey, if
Robot
Will
Chicken.
Vinton was going to come out of retirement and tackle a He-Man series with his style of animation, damn right I support it, because Will Vinton did gold. No,
For maybe
maybe
that would be a Christmas special, but no, I mean a constant one. It would. I don't.
Yeah, I think it would be. I wouldn't want to see it as a regular series, but I mean, I think just like as a cool looking
one-off
ad or a special or something,
Yeah, cool little one-off special could be fun.
Well, even like the California Racing commercial, because he did those. Like a fun commercial to advertise He-Man or something for fans or something in his style of animation, because he just did beautiful work with his claymation figures. As long as it was Will Vinton doing it, because that's the only guy I would support, because he brought style, class, and just perfection to the Christmas special, the Halloween special, the Easter special, all those California Racing commercials and specials he did.
Which are fun, and that's the thing. That's why specials. Yeah, I mean, a non-stop series for like a year, 50, 60 years.
I wouldn't want to see that. I need to see 2D animation with grit.
But I like that. I do like that question, Adam, and a one-off special could be pretty cool. So thanks for that, Adam. Grimbot said, "What's the situation on the Robbie London interview?" So I'm passing that to you.
Robbie has agreed to come on after October 21st due to like schedules and things that he's got going on. So once October 21st is coming up, I'm going to get in contact with Robbie and we'll set up. And he's agreed to do a 9 o'clock because that works because he's on the West Coast. So it'd be 6 o'clock where he's at. And he's stressed to not get too excited about it because he doesn't remember as much. But, he plan to talk to him about his time as, the staff writer and his job at Filmation, as well as he does specifically remember Double-Edged Sword and Dawn and Dragoon, because he told me specifically those are episodes that meant a lot to him, which I'm like, that's great, because that's what I want to talk to you about. So as we get closer on October 21st, I'm going to get in contact and we're going to figure out what day works for him. And he was curious to know how many listeners tune in live. And I told him, around from 10 to 18 at a time. It varies, but when he does, he's interested in answering questions from the listeners. He's already told me that. So I'm letting you know in advance that when he is verified, he will take time to answer questions from the listeners. And Joe, you will be there for it. I will not settle for anything less.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for that one, Grimbot. Okay. Zentron said, here's his movie quote, which I'm not going to get. He said, "Yes, that." I don't know. It sounds familiar. Like maybe I've heard that in a couple movies. I don't know, so I'm going to have to wait to see what the answer. I don't know what that movie quote is. He's always getting these obscure ones that blow my mind. Thank you.
Yeah, like the word "the." What was that in?
Hey, what was the... Okay, Fedmon said, this is almost similar to something we asked before, but I like it's still different. Fedmon said, "What beast or creature from Masters of the Universe, Princess of Power would you like to have or own in real life?" He said, "Good
Stridor."
Yep, that's the thing, because I know we did the vehicles the one time, but damn it, if I could have a big ass live battle cat, how badass would that be, going down the street riding as the gigantic monster of a tiger with the battle saddle and the face mask and that roar scaring the shit out of people? Could you imagine a real life big ass battle cat? That'd be scary as hell, especially when it's on.
If I couldn't have started, it would be Battle Cat, because Battle Cat just has such presence, and everybody's going to get out of your way. You're riding around on a giant green tiger with a giant saddle with spikes and a massive helmet, and just
it'd be absolutely frightening. So, well, thank you for that one. Here's one from Fans of Power, which is Nathan. He said, "How many guys does it take to transform Starscream?" You guys had a hell of an adventure today.
Well, apparently, from what I looked, I had to look up several videos and failed. Nathan, I told him, and he did find it. So, I don't know. I guess specifically 3, because Nathan had to find the guy. Then Nathan had to verify that it did work. Then he sent it to me. So I guess 3 guys it takes to put together a reissue of Generation 1 Starscream. Son of a bitch. But damn it, we got it done.
Please, you guys. Well, glad you guys got it. But okay, well, I think that might be it. So Zentron, you'll have to pop in your answer there in a second, because we didn't get it. But again, first I want to thank every single one of you guys for joining us in the chat room. We love having you here every single week. I know I say that every week, but it's because I mean it every week. Just love the interaction. And episode 156 is going to be really great, but of course, we got more coming. It's still going to be just as good. But I also wanted to remind people to like, subscribe, share, and also make sure you ring the bell down here. I was going to say it at the beginning just to remind everybody, but in case anybody who's watching us, on a rerun, or if you're in that chat room, you haven't did it, just ding that bell right down there, because that's always going to keep you notified when we go live. And I want to see, okay, Zentron said, Spaceballs. He said, oh, here's the whole thing. Oh, shit. No. Please, sir. No, not that. And then, yes, that. Okay, Spaceballs. Now
dude, no.
He's like, that's too vague.
Foul. You cannot give us a Spaceballs quote that's just that, you might as well just say, me? As in, like, you hurting me? No. You have to give an actual quote, not just a syllable.
Do
it again. I tell you what, come back next week and give us an actual line of dialogue, not a grunt or a whistle. You can't do that. No fair. If you're gonna steal my gimmick, you got to do it right.
Well, maybe that's the twist on his gimmick. It's so obscure and crazy that it just would.
I hope he's laughing, knowing he's got a reaction out of me, and of course Joe falls in his face like he does every week.
There you go. So. All right. Well, okay. So again, I told you everything to do. We loved having you here. So until next time, have a powerful day.
I don't smoke. It's a disgusting habit.
Wait, say it again?
I don't smoke. It's a disgusting habit.
And I feel like when you said that person was smoking and was kind of coughing when he did it.
Come on, Joe.
Yeah, see, Nathan hates it.
I know, Nathan. I was pretty confident Nathan would get it.
Tyler, do it again. If you listen to how he says it, how he acts it out, you can make it out.
Do it again.
Yeah. I don't smoke. It's a disgusting habit.
Oh, Ace Ventura.
Yeah.
Well, how he did it there. How he did that. Yes. Okay, that's great. And I always wondered if he improv. The part when he's telling the story about in his dream and that dog's chasing him, getting closer and closer, and then when he tells Courtney Cox to look at the side of his neck, and he does that bark and scares her.
Yeah.
That looked so real, and I always wondered, was that improv or was that actually?
I imagine everything he did in most of his movies, because they even said it, they just kind of like action and just kind of let him do whatever.
So you think that might have been actually part of the movie? It looked so genuinely real, like how she screamed. I felt like that was just improvised.
I'm sure, like, it's the point, like, telling this story about this, and he just decides to, and he probably just scared her, like, and got a genuine reaction.
Yeah, he added something to the end. I bet you there was a twist in the story, but all right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us. See you next week.